For the attorneys out there, what are some first meeting red flags that you may not want to take them on as a client?
Hi, I'm Jeff Marsacci, the Plain English Attorney, and you're at the #1 place to get simple answers to complex questions. We cover topics for attorneys, financial advisors, and the general public around estate and Medicaid planning, as well as some best practices for professionals. Our mission is to dispel myths, provide you some peace of mind, and hopefully have some fun along the way.
Just so we're clear, this is about whether or not the attorney should take on the client, and what are some warning signs that you may not want to.
The Benoit case? We decided to turn down the Benoit case.
Whether or not the client wants to take that particular attorney on and work with them is an entirely different question.
Benoit wants him. He doesn't want anybody else.
This video is going to be most helpful to those attorneys who already have a set client process in place. For example, if someone wants to meet with us about estate planning, we have a packet that we send them about 2 weeks before their appointment. It includes my book, Estate Planning Basics, and there's also a questionnaire. So part of what they need to do in order to meet with me at a reduced rate is to read that book. It's only about 80 pages. It's written in plain English. And
that stator control unit can reverse the polarity long enough to disengage maglev, and that should...
Speak English!
That's why I'm called the Plain English Attorney. And there's a questionnaire that they have to get back to us. And that's part of our process. And that's just one example of how we do things. Red flag number 1, they want to haggle over price. Now this is just something that I've found over the years. If they're going to argue over price, it doesn't matter if my price is here, or it's here, or it's here. What they want is well below what's reasonable.
How much you think we should charge him for this?
We don't want to be the cheapest out there. I'm a professional with a lot of experience. I'm very creative. I understand my stuff. And this isn't something that's a side gig to what I do in the main part of my practice. So I'm not going to lower the price because they're arguing over it. Here's a big part of that red flag. If they want you to reduce your price because they already have these documents, or another attorney did these documents, or worse, oh, I can do that document on my own. They're not looking at you as a professional who's doing a good, thorough job. They're looking at you as a salesperson who's selling them documents, and it's not the same thing. Red flag number 2, they refuse to follow our process. If they refuse to read the book and they refuse to fill out the questionnaire, then we know they're not going to be a good fit. Part of our process is also having appointments fit into certain time blocks. 1.5-hour meetings at specific times of the day. If they are refusing to meet during those times and just want to make up their own time, then we know they're not going to be a good fit. Red flag number 3, they said they did their homework, but they didn't.
We are men of action. Lies do not become us.
Another thing that happens is they stubbornly insist that they read the book from cover to cover and they understand it, and then they ask some very basic questions like, well, what's the difference between a will and a trust?
I don't think it means what you think it means.
Or, is probate really that bad? That just tells me they did not read the book at all, and now they're lying to me. And if you're lying to me in that first meeting, I don't want to have you as a client. If they don't do their homework ahead of time, they're just wasting your time and theirs, and they will have no problem with wasting more of your time in the future. Red flag number 4, they won't answer your questions. This is especially true when it comes to something like estate planning, because I really try to boil everything down and make it easy for these potential clients to come on board. Really, there are only 4 big questions that we run through, and all of the other information that they've provided and some of the interaction back and forth can get the rest of the plan put together, but I really only boil it down to 4 big questions, and it's meant to get at who would be the best trustees, who would be the best healthcare agents, and the documents and the rest of the plan needs to be coordinated around that. If they refuse to discuss or give me the names of the people that they want to do those things, then that's a huge red flag.
And remember, this is for posterity, so be honest.
There's a huge issue there with whether or not they're trusting me to put things down or to even have the discussion in front of me if it's a couple. If they're not willing to give enough information for us to even get started, then I just believe I'm wasting my time and they're wasting theirs. Another piece of that is if they refuse to talk about the relationships of their adult children and other beneficiaries and whether or not that may impact the plan, they're just hiding stuff now. I'm not the person you should be hiding things from, and that makes me much more likely to say I don't want to end up working with you. Red flag number 5, they refuse to sign up at the end of the meeting.
Sign here.
Now, a lot of professionals may balk at this one and say, well, that's not really a red flag. You can't really expect everybody to sign up at that first meeting. You don't want to give them high-pressure sales tactics. I don't want to give them high-pressure sales tactics. But the fact is, at that point, they've sat down with me. They've read my book. They've gone and filled out everything. We've gone through and gotten the information we need. We've answered all of their questions. We've laid everything out. We're ready to go. If they're not, then something is wrong there. If they're not ready to sign up, well, that's fine. We're still going to go through the engagement agreement, explain each section, cross out what doesn't apply, add in the things that we did discuss that were going to be included, and there's only one place for them to initial and one place for them to sign in that engagement agreement. And so all they need to do is do that, get it back to our office with the form of payment, and we can get started.
Get to work.
Now, this is an important piece. If they don't sign up and then they have more questions, I have to do it at my regular hourly rate. We don't do it at a reduced rate anymore. They're going to have to pay to get more information after that first meeting. After all, it's typically about 1/3 of my rate to get an hour and a half of time. They had all their questions answered. For some reason, they have additional questions. And I can tell you what that probably is. They went to another attorney, and now what they want is a bidding war. Well, this attorney said this, and this attorney said that, and this attorney... So why don't, what do you say to that? And then they're going to go back to the other attorney. I call them wafflers. They're never going to make a decision. So those are my 5 big red flags for potential clients, and whether or not we may want to even work with them. Do you have any other red flags that you want to share? Go ahead and put them in the comments below.
We hope you found that information useful and easy to understand. To keep getting this great information, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. To get even more information more quickly, follow the links below to some of our free, no obligation programs.